Sprinters, today we talk one of the most undervalued projects out there, and I'm really excited. When I found this, I was like, my goodness, while everybody is copying, which in crypto we call forking, other projects, this team is doing the right thing. This team is not sacrificing full decentralization, solving real problems without sacrificing decentralization. They have the decentralization level of Bitcoin. So let's dive into this team. I am really excited. The project is called Kadena, and it is on proof of work, which means it deploys miners, not validators. Now, what's the problem with proof of work? You have security, which is 100% because of the decentralization. It's like hornets. You want to stop them, you can't stop them, they will fly around. So fully decentralization means full resilience and full self-healing mechanisms. That's why fully decentralized, that's the idea behind the original white paper behind Bitcoin. So full decentralization is the one thing that crypto is based upon, and they have found a way to not sacrifice it. Now, security and decentralization, this is what proof of work is strong in. And the third leg, scalability, this is where a bottleneck occurs right now. And most projects work around that bottleneck by moving from proof of work to proof of stake, like Ethereum is doing right now. And by moving to proof of stake, they say, okay, we have to sacrifice centralization in order to improve scalability. And scalability is mainly speed. Now, this team, and you hear from what I'm saying that we are losing security and we are losing decentralization by moving to proof of stake. So it's not the best solution to this problem. Now, these guys are trying to go for the best solution, staying on proof of work, but finding a way to scale. And they did. They did find a way to scale. How can I show you the way? Let me show you how they did it. Here it is. They stay in the proof of work mechanism, but they run chains in parallel. Here you see the chains running in parallel. So they are currently running the fastest chain around because they run 20 stacked upon each other. Here you see how they stack one chain upon each other. This is the mechanism. They are currently running 20 chains in parallel, and that's why they are the fastest. So the only problem of proof of work is scalability, and they have found a technological solution to that scalability. If this is not exciting, then I don't know what exciting is. Now on crypto Twitter, we see if scalability is the issue, Kadena has solved it without compromise of security and speed. I agree. And you can find more information here. The second thing that makes me really interested, and I found this on their GitHub, is most projects, they allocate most ownership, most tokens to the investors, big chunks, because of course investors are important resource contribution, but investors are not what makes the self-healing mechanisms. The self-healing mechanisms are the 7 levels of security, and one of them are the miners themselves. The miners are for many reasons. You can watch a full video by Michael Saylor where he explains the 7 levels of security of Bitcoin. And this is where he really brilliantly explains why security depends on the miners and how the miners are the first to spot problems, the first to lobby in the political buildings where lobbying is needed. So they are the bridge from the crypto world to the real mainstream world. Because remember, we are still a very small frontier fringe team here, and this whole thing will get adoption when we bridge it to the real world, to the legacy world and their systems. That's where the magic happens. And so you need lobbying. And who will do lobbying if not the miners? The miners are the only people who are really invested, who are investing their money, risking their economic game into investing into the technology. So they will be frontier in monitoring the technology evolution. They are the first one to get attacked by regulations. So they will be in conversation with the regulators. And this is a very good and an important feedback loop when you think in systems. The miners' systems and the legacy system is really important to have that loop. So miners having 70% is absolutely outstanding if you compare it to all other projects. And then comes the team, and the team is also one of the most interesting teams around. We have Will Martino on the team, one of the founders, and Will was in the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission. And guess what will be the biggest risk of this space in the coming months and years? SEC regulations. If they see you as a security instead of a property, they might get you unlisted from exchanges. So it's really good, and it's the first time that I see an SEC person on a crypto team, and this is really good for exactly the reason that I told you before, having this bridge of the fringe crypto world to the mainstream legacy world. Really important. And so Will is one of the guys. And then we have on the team Stuart. Stuart has previous JP Morgan exposure. Really important, again, to link to the legacy system, which is, remember, the real world where most of the other people live. And then we have Stuart. Where is Stuart? So this is Stuart. And the third one on the team, which now I lost. Yeah, Stuart Haber. Stuart Haber is one of the inventors of the blockchain technology, upon which then the anonymous collective Satoshi Nakamoto created the Bitcoin paper, the white paper, and the Bitcoin, using different pieces of technologies that were already in use. And one piece is the blockchain, which was developed by literally this guy, Stuart Haber, a very, very under-discussed, undervaluated person, not flexing muscles on any social media, but having really the skills needed for this job. So team top. Now let's go to our checklist. If you remember, Last week we analyzed Phantom and we found so many red points here that it wasn't a buy. Now looks very different when we go to Kadena. We went through all the 10 things. Does it solve a real problem? Yes. And we discussed how. Is this problem urgent? Well, it is relevant. It is not felt by most people as urgent, but it will. And it is getting more and more felt as the inflationary background and the macro background evolve. Does it need teaching? At the moment, yes. But it's still a green overall because it solves the proof of work trilemma. Is it decentralized? Fully decentralized. There is no proof of stake whatsoever, so it's the original gangsta. It's 100% fully decentralized, and that's what crypto is all about. It's not about assets that appreciate, it's about creating a decentralized, trustless, secure and self-healing system. Let's remember that. Network effects. Yes, it is a protocol, it's not a platform, it's not an application. Competition risk. Is it hard to copy or easy to copy? Yeah. So what can you fork? You can fork proof of stake things. You cannot fork easily miners. You cannot duplicate miners. That's why very hard to copy. Perfect competitive situation. Everybody's copying proof of stake things. Proof of work is much different. Appreciation, depreciation, it has the same deflationary design as Bitcoin, so it's the opposite of inflation. It's deflationary, limited supply, 100% of the points here, and then we move to the other 5. What about the investors? Their network, because they are in the legacy world, their network is very strong in the legacy world, and guys, this is where the institutions and their big whale money comes from. So yes, top. They don't have the cool Silicon Valley guys. They have more of the legacy people, but in terms of volume, that's a 10. And then regulatory risk. Yes, it's huge. If you are classified as a security, you will have a problem. But they have the SEC on their team. So who better suited than them to talk to their colleagues and to understand what the entry points are, what to look at, and have a sophisticated conversation with the SEC. Longevity. Yes, longevity. Well, the length of their being around is not what makes me so bullish. Longevity is the self-healing property. For me, it's this self-healing property of the proof of work, because you have the miners. The miners will be the first one to see something not working. They will be the most interested in immediately repairing it. They will put their time and energy into repairing it. They are the canary in the coal mine. They are the lobbyists. So I see longevity at 10. And scalability also, because they have found this way to run 20 chains in parallel, which makes them right now the fastest chain around. The fastest chain around. And this was shocking to me, because they have the best solution, they have the fastest technology, and they are so undervalued. If you check sentiment, nobody's talking about them. And there is no hype and no FOMO around them compared to other coins. This is my take on Kadena, and I'm super curious what your take is. To sum it up, I think they solve a real problem. They have a great team. They're fully decentralized, and that's what it's all about. They have the fastest chain because they found a way to run 20 chains in parallel. This is my take on Kadena. Everybody, keep rolling.